Okay, welcome to the Shoegaze at 93 channel, the channel that celebrates itself. And today I'm going to put together my ultimate shoegaze supergroup. These are guys from the classic early 90s period. I haven't included anybody like from Flying Colours or Ringo Death Star or nothing, like none of the modern guys. This is purely like early 90s shoegaze. There is a couple that I've left out, some glaring omissions, probably like Adam Franklin, just because, they're kind of on the, Swervedriver are kind of on the fringes of the genre. He's much more closer to somebody like Hendrix and J Mascis, who are kind of out of the genre a little bit, like genre adjacent. But then I do have Steve George and Graham Bonner from Swervedriver in this as well. But just mostly just to make up the numbers, really, because I've got 8 nominations for each position: guitarists, vocalists, bassists, and drummers. So we've got drummers in purple font, we got bassists in orange font, we got vocalists / guitarists in red font, and guitarists in yellow. And don't worry if you can't see the yellow font, as somebody pointed out in the YouTube comments for my preview of this. You'll basically see in a minute when I drag the names onto this little band stage here. You'll see the yellow will stand out in front of that dark background. So yeah, don't worry too much there. So without further ado, let's get on with this then. This is going to be very, very tricky. Obviously there's some glaring omissions everywhere. Sorry if I left out your favorite musicians, artists. But, I've had to narrow it down and be really brutal and filter it down to just 8 nominations for each position. So should we start off with starting with drummer first? Yeah, we go to like the least contentious, arguably the least contentious, and then bassist, and then guitarists and vocalists are probably going to be the hardest to sift through. So we start off with the drum department, which I'm fairly sure of. There's only one winner really in this. Although there are so many amazing drummers in shoegaze, largely because they have to provide the energy really when you've got vocalists and guitarists who are kind of non-performing. They've got their head down and they're not very confident. The drummer has to kind of step up and be the star of the show in a way, just to keep the crowd entertained in a aesthetic terms anyway. So for drummers, it's lots of people would vouch for Com. His drumming for MBV, especially in their more sort of punky period, post-punk period. On Isn't Anything, and there's EPs around there like Feed Me With Your Kiss, where he's just smashing away on the snare. You Made Me Realize, just incredible energy on those tracks. But also like tracks like Soon, where he's got that dancey kick going, and boom, 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 boom. He just like keeps that kick going like all through the whole song, like, which is like in live versions they keep it going for like 6-7 minutes, and he just shows phenomenal stamina in that song to keep that kick going. It sounds mechanical. He's so precise with it. Chris Ackland, rest in peace. The Lush drummer, really unfortunate suicide in 1996. No idea what really triggered it. It's just one of those, a bit like the feeder drummer, John Lee. You know, all of a sudden the band's on top of the world, and then next moment you've got the darkest possible outcome, just coming from nowhere, seemingly. So yeah, rest in peace, Chris Ackland. Great drumming on, you know, just a great punk drummer, like on Super Blast. Nothing natural. You know, the way he can keep a baggy beat going for so long is really impressive. Just like I mentioned with Colm, you know, so many of these drummers were just great at doing that kind of baggy, the forbidden beats, as they call it, the amen break, the funky drummer. You know, all of those guys could do that, and it really, obviously, it was kind of a crossover. You know, it had the shoegaze post-punk thing, and it helped them be relevant in the days of Mads Chester and Baggy as well. So, you know, the drummers had to be great at the whole kind of early 90s resume, really. You know, post-punk kind of drumming and dance feels as well, dance rhythms. You know, if they were accomplished at those two things, then they would be a fantastic drummer for that period. But for me, you know, it's got to be Loz Colbert. You know, just one of the best drummers. You know, not just in the genre, but you know, in any genre. You know, that guy could just slot in any kind of band, any hard rock band. Well, I'll have to make his picture a bit smaller, I think. Kind of not really anticipating how little space I got to deal with here. Right, okay. This could be a bit of a pain. Oh, come on. Yeah, so we've got, put Loz up there. Look. I might just drag the names actually onto the stage. It might be easier. I think with the picture, it's going to take up too much room, and it's just going to be confusing by the time I get round to the other positions. But yeah, Chris Cooper from Pale Saints, you know, another really great, valid candidate there. His drumming is phenomenal on like Comforts of Madness, especially. You know, all those sort of odd time signatures and his drum rolls. You know, another guy who's probably really influenced by jazz just as much as rock and indie. Graham Bonner from Swervedriver, you know, phenomenal on Rays. He was a drummer for Rays, and then they had Jez Hindmarsh after that. And then Mikey Jones has been the more recent drummer since the reunion days. But I really like his drumming on Sunset from Rays. There's that sort of... there's that kind of refrain part in the middle of the song where, you know, the guitars go into that reverse reverb and, you know, sort of drifting left to right, this panning going on, and then the drums are just like, he's just doing these like incredible drum rolls that really kind of build the anticipation up for like when the song kind of goes back to the verse, you know, because it kind of goes on this massive journey like through the middle of the song. And the drums just like really build the suspense up so well. I think that was Graham Bonner's finest moment, Sunset by Swervedriver. And then you got Rob Seeker, Boo Radley's, you know, really good, really great moments. Does This Hurt? Incredible pace on the hi-hat for that song. Ashley Bates, oh yeah, Leaves in Sand from Giant Steps is incredible as well. What a song that is. Yeah, his drumming, like when it gets really heavy, like during like the middle part of the song, just incredible pace, incredible stamina. And then Ashley Bates, you know, great breather, you know, absolutely incredible in breather. So yeah, I think Loz is the clear winner there. Just completely drives those first two Ride albums, Nowhere and Going Blank Again. You know, the drums, like, despite of how great the guitar sonics are and how great Andy Bell's playing is, and how great the bass lines are, like Loz, he is like the front man of those 2 albums. He's the front man of Ride for those first 2 albums. I've never known anybody who drives a band as much as what Loz does on his first 2 Ride albums. Absolutely incredible. You know, even more than like Keith Moon or John Bonham. You know, this guy is just standing above the rest and completely driving the music and sending it into different directions. You know, he's like guiding the band, you know, like speeding them up and slowing them down. Everyone else is following his lead. Incredible for a drummer. Just watch Brixton Academy 1992 or Town and Country Club 1991 to just get such a great idea of how good that guy was with the sticks. So yeah, next, bassists. I should just do this in parts because my phone might not save everything. So that's part 1 done. So that's drummers.